Okay, let's look at an overview of finite math for quarter 3. The major topics that we have covered are listed here, so I highly recommend you use this as a tool to study and make sure you know how to do all these things. I did my best to include all kinds of example problems that hit all of these. You also want to make sure that you understand all these terms. I'm not suggesting that you run out and start writing a vocab list. Unless that works for you, just kind of go down the list and make sure you understand what each one of these are. And if you don't know, you need to make sure that you go ahead and get that covered. All right, so as far as how to use this video, there are going to be 3 parts because we have 3 pages of our video. Page 1 is going to be video 1, video 2 will be page 2, etc. What I suggest is that you watch this in 1.5 speed. I find that when I'm explaining something, I explain things fairly slowly. So if you need to get it speed up, please go ahead and do 1.5, and that should get you what you need if you feel like it's dragging. This last thing you're going to do is make sure that you actually do the study guide. As part of doing the study guide, you will test yourself to see if you know how to do it. You'll use this as a tool to fast forward till you see the answer, and if the answer is correct of what you have, then you continue to go on and check the next answer. If you got it incorrect, you need to go back and watch the explanation. That's the only way you're going to learn from your mistakes. All right, let's go ahead and get started on page 1. These practice problems, I'm going to be given some sequences, and I have to state whether they're arithmetic, geometric, or neither. So let's go ahead and tackle that first. I see here I go from 2 to 4, 4 to 8. So I could say plus 2, but then I have plus 4, then it would be plus 8. So I'm doubling each time. So this is actually times 2. Okay, so each time I'm increasing by 2. That means because it's a multiplication, it's geometric. And with that, I have a ratio, and that ratio is what I multiply by, and that ratio is going to be 2. And we'll come back and do our recursive and explicit formulas in a moment. Okay, let's take a look at this one. From 6 to 9, I add 3. From 9 to 12, I add 3. 12 to 15, I add 3, right? So you can go ahead and see that this is actually an arithmetic sequence. And so my difference between each one is D, and that's going to be the value of 3. All right, let's take a look at this one. Going from 2 to negative 2, that's minus 4. Negative 2 to 5 is 7. Plus 7, this is plus 5. This is plus 4. I don't see any kind of rhyme or reason for this. So I'm going to say that this is neither arithmetic or geometric. So it's not going to fall within our normal scope of our equations for that. All right. The next part, it says we want to provide the recursive and explicit formulas. And then in addition to that, to solve for A17. All right. So let's go ahead and tackle this puppy. My recursive, a to the n equals a to the n minus 1 times 2. So that r is going to be the value that I'm putting in there. My explicit formula, a to the n equals a1 plus d to n minus 1. So that's going to be 2 plus 2 times, I apologize, that is not our geometric. A times r to the n minus 1. So that's going to be equal to 2 times 2 to the n minus 1. And then we want to solve for A17. I apologize about that earlier. A17 is going to be A1, which is 2 times 2 to the 16. So when you go ahead and do the math on that one, you end up with 131,072. All right, let's make sure we get these ones right for you. The arithmetic, our recursive formula, we have a to the n equals a to the n minus 1 plus 3. And then our recursive, a to the n equals a1 plus d times n minus 1. So a to the 17 will be equal to 6. Actually, let me fill that out. 6 plus 3 times n minus 1. So that's going to be my equation for that one. And then A17, we have 6 plus 3 times 16. So in that case, we end up with a value of 54. And then for 3, we have neither, so we can't do a recursive or find any different values. So we're in good shape. All right, calculate the series for problem 1. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our equation for a series, s to the n. And this is just the sum. The series means that I'm taking a summation of all of the ones that I see. So the formula is s of n is equal to a1 r, oops, that's not r to the n minus 1 over r minus 1. And in this particular series, do you see how I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I'm going to use S5 because it says to calculate the series. So S5 is going to be equal to 2 times 2 to the 5th minus 1 over 2 minus 1. So that's going to be equal to 2 times 32 minus 1 over 1. So that's going to give us a value of 62. All right, let's take a look at the series for an arithmetic sequence. So the series there, s of n, is going to equal n over 2 times the first plus the last one. I have in this arithmetic sequence 5 numbers. So I'm going to say s of 5. So that's going to be 5 over 2 times a1, which is 6, plus 18. Okay. So 6 plus 18 is 24 times 5 divided by 2 gives me 60. Okay, so that is that sequence or series. That is page 1 of your review, and we'll hit page 2 in just a moment.